Hi, this question is for both of you. Are we going to get to see you fight Cyborg? Because that's what we all want.
Oh, let me answer that question.
I love that too, but I don't make fights. I just show up and win them.
It's a complicated question. Yes, I know Ronda wants that fight. Cyborg is going to fight at 135 pounds, apparently. She never fought at 135 pounds. She's going to make the weight, do it in Invicta. We'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. All right? She does want this fight. I know a lot of people talk a lot of shit like she doesn't, but she does. So we'll see what happens.
This question is for Ronda. Recently, you have a project that you did the Expendables free. So, like, how does you feel working with all those legends?
Well, it's definitely an honor and extremely intimidating. I really hit the ground running, and the first scene that I ever filmed in my entire life was with Sylvester Stallone. So it was very daunting, but it was also, it made it a lot easier for me too, in that I know that the movie is going to be a success because there are so many icons involved in it, and it, I don't know, it's one of those things where I'm never going to forget it for my entire life, and I feel like it's going to make every other movie seem a lot less intimidating because I did that one first, but also it's like, man, nothing's ever going to top that. I'm never going to be, sitting in a helicopter with every action movie star that I ever idolized as a kid, and so it was an amazing experience.
Hello? Do I have to ask a serious question, or...?
Any question would be nice.
Yeah, this is for Ronda. Who wins in a fight, Superman or Goku?
Goku would definitely win, because Superman is like capped out, you know what I mean? Like his powers are where they're at, and they're not going to get any more. I mean, I don't think, like, Goku can destroy an entire planet, and I don't think Superman can do that, and definitely Goku.
Yeah,
Wow. She made that sound like a real serious question. Impressive.
I was going to ask a second question, but it was, will you marry me? But I don't want to answer that anymore.
You know what? That shirt is so awesome. I got the same one, and so that helps your case. But I don't know. You had to put in more work than a cool shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, question for Ronda as well. The movie is obviously a lot of guys from different backgrounds. You learn a trick or two from, like, I don't know, Jet Li or whoever, and any of the crew you think
Who would do well in the UFC? Well, I think, Randy Couture's already been in the UFC, and the closest thing to that's probably Victor Ortiz. But he's very much a boxing background, so it'd be very hard for him to transition over, but I think, he's the most realistic one.
Did you learn anything from Jet Li or who other cast? Maybe something you can show off on Saturday?
No, I didn't get a chance to, like, train or do anything with Jet, and I saw him mostly shooting, actually. He was shooting, like, this big, giant gun when I saw him, and the only thing I learned is how to keep a really cool expression on your face when you're shooting a machine gun. I hope in the future, if they continue to make more, I'll have more of a chance to work with him, because I always loved, like, his wushu style of fighting, and next time.
This is for Ronda. In this part of the world, there's still a heavy traditional martial arts atmosphere. And of course, you coming from a judo background, Japan is huge in judo, and then kung fu in China. Can you give maybe some advice to some people that now that UFC has come to Asia and made MMA is starting to become very, very popular in this part of the world, can you give some advice for some traditional martial artists who might want to make that switch over to MMA?
Advice. Well, it's more like judo, kung fu, other things like that. I think you can't be afraid to avoid what you're missing. And so when I started doing MMA, I haven't worn a gi and done judo, trained in judo since I started doing MMA. Like, seriously. And so, like, some days I'll be like, oh, for fun, let's throw a gi on and move around, but it hasn't really been part of my training. And I think if you want to transition over, you really have to embrace what you don't know.
Thank you.
I want to ask, I was inspired by the Goku vs. Superman question. So, Charmander, Squirtle, or Bulbasaur?
Oh.
Charmander every single time. I always started with Charmander. And yeah, that was my first Pokemon ever, was Charmander. I had to say Charmander.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Next question, please.
Judo. So for the last camp, I brought in Justin Flores, who was, he was on the world team and a lot of things with me growing up. And he really helped me keep my judo sword sharp. But we do mostly no gi because I've been doing gi for so long that I had to kind of I have to try and keep the good habits and lose the bad ones. So I did a lot of judo training for the last fight, but for the fight before that, McMahon, I focused only on wrestling because she was a wrestler. So it depends on who the opponent is. But I forgot what the question was.
Can you beat 16 seconds?
Can I beat 16 seconds? A funny thing about that, after I beat McMahon in a minute 6, my coach and I had a bet, and he was like, no one's ever going to beat a minute 6 knockout in women. So I'm like, I was like, yeah, somebody is, or something like that. That was the bet. Wait, no, I forget which way it went. Yeah, I said that somebody will beat it, and then we had a bet going on for a couple $1,000s, and then I beat it. And no, I said no one would beat it. That was it. And I ended up beating it myself, and I didn't know that I counted. So I actually owe my coach like $5 grand right now. So I don't know if I would make that bet again, but yeah, you know what? I'll say it again. I'll say if no one will ever beat 16 seconds, including myself, and if I do or somebody else does, then I owe my coach another $5 grand.
Next question. This one's for Ronda. So during the filming of The Expendables, did you feel like... Over here.
Right there.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Did you feel like you could take the entire cast in a fight?
I will never say that I can't do anything. I'm not going to start putting limits on myself.
What's your opinion on Holly Holm, Ronda?
I'm so excited that Holly Holm got signed. Whoop! These chairs are not conducive to heels. But yeah, she's someone that I've had an eye on for a while. I think that she's a really exciting fighter. You know, you don't see women that are world championship boxers knocking people out with head kicks very often. And I think that she's not just great for for a title fight. She's great for the whole division and giving the women some real legitimacy. And I couldn't be happier about her joining the company.
That's what's so unique about Ronda. Ronda gets excited about new women that get signed. It's not like there's any jealousy or hatred or, oh, I'm not going to fight. She wants to fight everybody, and she gets as excited as we do when we sign new talent and is excited to fight them. She's a very unique individual.
Hello, this is for Ronda. What advice, I know you got off a knee injury, what advice would you have for people who are recovering from knee injuries? And second of all, I know you train with a lot of Armenians. Do you like the Armenian cuisine? And if you do, what would you recommend?
Armenian barbecue. That's where it's at. It really is. What was the first part of the question? I started thinking about knee injuries. Well, you just, right after you get your surgery or whatever, you have to focus on what you can use. 2 weeks after my ACL surgery, I was 16 years old. 2 weeks afterward, my mom had me on the mat doing push-ups. She says, your arms work. And so you have to think about what actually works, what can you actually do. And so same thing after this last knee surgery. I'm laying on the couch. I'm pretty much totally laid up with my knuckle and the knee and everything. My mom shows up in the morning, comes up to my room, makes me get out of bed and do abs right in front of her. She's like, your stomach works. Come on. No. And so if I'm coming back from an injury, I like to focus on what I can do instead of worrying about what I can't do. And then steadily, as you're healing, you can do more and more and more.
Thank you.
We've talked about super fights in the past, and they, for one reason or another, didn't happen. And when we talk super fights, let's talk about what super fight means. If you have the George St. Pierre versus the Anderson Silva, if you have the Anderson Silva versus the John Jones guys, the guys who have had the titles almost cleaned out an entire division. Any super fights that we're looking at right now, in my opinion, would be like a Anthony Pettis versus Jose Aldo. Even though Pettis has been injured for a while and hasn't defended the title again, he beat Ben Henderson, who was a guy who had annihilated that whole division. He beat him, and he beat him easily. And Jose Aldo and Pettis have been talking about moving back and forth to take each other's belts. So really, right now, that's the only one I can think of that would be a super fight, unless you look at like a Cormier, who's been out there forever in the heavyweight division and has beat a lot of guys and is now fighting at light heavyweight, has beat a bunch of guys and now will fight Jones. So when there is a super fight to be made, I hope to make it.
Good. I want GSP and John Jones.
GSP and John, that's a stretch there, my friend. There's a bit of a weight difference between those guys. That's not a super fight, that's a stupid fight.
But I love them too.
Yeah, what did George St. Pierre do to you that you want to get him killed? He weighs 170 pounds, the other guy walks around at like 230.
He's a French.
All right, no matchmaker job for you, my friend.
And for
did you say he's French?
And for Ronda, and I heard rumors that your mom wakes you up with an armbar every morning. Is that true?
Well, not every morning, you know. It wasn't like my snooze button or anything. But no, she was better at keeping me on my toes, as I didn't know when it was coming. So yes, I have been woken up with arm bars. I've been woken up with her telling me to do an arm bar, and plenty of times where I kind of have this tick where I don't like my back being open. Like if I sit at a restaurant, like I want to face the door and other things like that, because I would just sit in the living room watching TV and my mom would sneak behind me and throw me a rear naked choke on the regular. Actually, she did that, I think, not the last time I was at the house, but the time before that, she still does it to this day. And she keeps me sharp, I appreciate it. She's my Kato.
Thank you.
We'll do one more. You got one more?
One more.
All right, my man. Right here at the end.
Just a quick question about Conor McGregor. How many fights do you think he's away from a title fight?
Well, the whole Conor McGregor thing, you know, obviously a super talented guy, great charisma, you know, huge following in Ireland and other, you know, the United States and wherever. His big fight's coming up. Poirier is the real deal. This kid is a veteran. He's tough. He's fought a lot of good guys. He's been out there for a long time. If Conor McGregor can beat Poirier, it really shows you where he's at, what level he is, and where he sits in the rankings. A win over Poirier, and who knows what's next for that kid. It definitely legitimizes all the Conor McGregor hype and all the excitement about the kid. This next fight's gonna tell everything. You know, we really appreciate it very much, and this has been real exciting for me, man. I love it here. So thank you very much, and have a great day.